This is the way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Chris, a.k.a. RumblePack92, and before we get started, I must go bathe in the living waters of Mandalore to pay for my sins, because I doubted Dave Filoni before a story was complete, and now I have paid for it. I will never do it again, because, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, we just got a fucking banger episode of The Mandalorian. If you aren't familiar, this is the Waypoint, the one and only Star Wars discussion show right here on the Shared Screens Podcast Network. Joining me is the entire cast and crew of our show. Brett Jamerson, Alec, Bob Coast, some other Josh, Jordan Deeb. I've meant to call you Jim Tasty, Brett. I'm so sorry. I forgot. I got to keep the branding on point. I'm losing my mind. This is a huge episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I get for questioning a story that's what I get for questioning a song before it had been sung. Okay. I love Star Wars so much, you guys. This was incredible. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about this. Let's just cut the rest of this. We're going to get straight into it. I want to know your thoughts and feelings on episode 6, The Spies. Episode 7?
7, yeah.
7, The Spies. I'm all over the place today. Jordan, welcome back. Start us off, man. How'd you feel about this week's Mando?
Wasn't here last week. Really liked aspects of last week's episode. Really didn't like aspects of last week's episode all at the same time. But I was kind of going like, all right, where are we heading? And then I think today is like
general
the first
vibe here.
Yeah. And then I think today was like the first domino. Not even, I wouldn't say the first domino, because now it's starting to feel like the first domino was way back in season 1, like when we didn't know shit. But now I feel it's like the dominoes have started to fall, and we're seeing it all come together. We're seeing, I think, the complete picture here. And this episode fucked, man.
Absolutely agree, 100%. And yeah, I think it's important to know, while we did have like some qualms and criticisms and questions about the direction of it, we didn't dislike it at all. It was just kind of like, where is this going? And it's just it felt like it meandered a bit, and then this episode, no, it was all set up, and now we're getting payoff, and it's beautiful. Brett, how'd you feel, man?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I still have qualms with like how we got here, but now that we're here, it's great. So I can't wait to see the finale, how they're going to wrap up, this initial conflict. So many awesome like armors and visuals and sacrifices, everything in between, man. So it was great. Watched it twice.
Heck yeah, that's impressive. That's a 2-hour commitment. Good on you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Alec, give me your thoughts, baby.
Man, as if Star Wars Celebrations wasn't hype enough, then they just give us this hell of an episode. Like, it's like, just give us Gideon back. Like, I always forget how giant those droids are that is at the beginning of the episode. Like, just taller than Kane.
On rainy Coruscant, by the way, which is everything that I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just want to walk there. You know what I mean? I just want to walk and look at signs and hear aliens talking. You know what I mean?
Made me want to play Cyberpunk so bad.
A little bit, right?
Right, yeah. But, man, seeing those Imperial, I guess they're stormtroopers in Mandalorian armor, like in that clean white, that was
I'm getting that hot toy.
Yeah, dude, I'm about to spend money on that one, bro. Are you kidding me?
And then just going on top of what you guys said, just the armor overall was really cool. Just the moment seeing Grogu in the IG-12 was hilarious. And then I like the little reference to I think it was Darth Maul's Death Watch, where he had the on Gideon's helmet. It looked like he had the spikes. So it was just a great episode. Can't wait to see where next week goes.
All right, Josh, round us out, baby. How'd you feel?
As the resident sequel ride or die fanboy, oh my God, was I eating today, buddy? Holy shit!
Get out here!
Celebration wasn't good enough with Daisy Ridley coming back, dude. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni hit us with it. We got the Praetorian Guards back. We got snow clones in the tubes. Oh my God, so much shit from the aftermath novels with Brendol fucking Hux getting name dropped, dude. Played by
Donald Gleason's brother.
not just name drop. It was straight up saw him. We are setting shit up. We are pinning this shit back together. We're sewing. We're stitching. Ooh, I loved everything about this episode, man. I love bringing all the Mandalorians back together. Giancarlo's back. Oh my God, the Praetorian Guard's fantastic. IG-12, as we already mentioned, we're going to get into, fantastic. This
Thrawn name drop.
Thrawn name drop in the first 10 minutes of the episode. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? The Shadow Council, all this was fucking dope, dude. What a pin ultimate episode. We finally, it feels like we got through the drama of the behind the scenes stuff with Rangers of the New Republic, all that shit. And we're just now back in the thick of it, dude. It feels so good, man.
Shout out to Pelion too, a classic expanded universe character involved with Thrawn, who looks exactly like his old EU counterpart too. They couldn't have done a better job with on that side as well, which is really exciting. And yeah, I mean, stuff that we're seeing payoffs for a groundwork that's been laid since basically Disney bought Star Wars with stuff coming in from the aftermath novels and those sorts of things. Where I feel like it's finally starting to become what people thought this could be, which is that sort of that supplement to the sequel trilogy in the way that Clone Wars was to the prequels, in that it expands what we already know and builds upon things and kind of fills in the gaps of our knowledge there. And I absolutely love that. And I mean, yeah, on top of that, there's it feels like what's the term for it, like fan service, but in the best kind of way, right? To the point where, I mean, yeah, Moff Gideon coming down in like a brand new version of the Dark Trooper armor, flanked by stormtroopers wearing Beskar armor, fighting a legion of Mandalorians, and then the Praetorians come in, and you have it's not Shea Vizsla, Paz Vizsla, thank you. Shea Vizsla's from the Old Republic. Paz Vizsla coming in and giving the ultimate sacrifice, and yeah, Grogu walking around in the husk of IG-11 is hilarious, and his little button pressing over and over again. I mean, the Anzellan be like, no, bad baby. I mean, everything just it's goofy, like silly, but also tonally, like it's you can have the silliness, and then you also get, I mean, just all of like the rad shots of them on Mandalore meeting survivors there, really great action performances as well, like yeah, a giant monster, because why not, like it's just
how many times are these people going to get attacked by a giant reptile?
This is the way, dude.
I was thinking about that, but then also it's like when you look at like a lot of the iconography that Mandalorians like to use for their clans and things that they're associated with stuff, it's a lot of like giant reptiles and dinosaur looking things and those sorts of things. And yeah, I guess like constantly seeing these, like it kind of makes sense why they're associated with all those things now, right? Because it's like, hey, there's just giant fucking monsters running around on Mandalore all the time, and I love that. But I mean, yeah, there's so much to go into here. I mean, yeah, the reveal that Gideon has been working from Mandalore like this whole fucking time is unreal. Like I gasped when it went into the hallway. I was like,
oh yeah, that corner. I'm like, this turn around. This is a trap. You can clearly see like the Imperial lights.
Mm-hmm. Dude, right off the rip, I had someone come up on my TikTok For You page a few days ago, and he's one of those things, like it's one of those guys who just like points at text and just like shakes his head, and it's like, Disney wasted Giancarlo Esposito. Like, imagine hiring one of the best actors and you don't even utilize them, and it's like, dude, you're probably eating your fucking words right now. Yeah, right off the rip, my man was coming in the fucking Shadow Council. All that shit was incredible, dude.
Oh, just absolutely amazing. Like
splits.
It's just yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna say for a split second, I almost thought we were gonna get Thrawn there for the Shadow Council.
I was ready for it.
We're saving them. And the fact that we get them in
maybe
4
next
months.
week. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I get the feeling he's gonna come in, big dick swinging and show up on Gideon's door like unannounced, be like, "What's up? I'm back, bitch."
Oh yeah. But I think what this episode did best was tension, though, the entire time through, having that establishing the Shadow Council and them talking, him saying we need bombers, we need defense, Praetorian guards, all that stuff, and then we have these two clashing factions meeting up together for the first time. So we got tension between the Mandalorians, and then they're like, we're going down to the surface, communications cut off, and so that while this ground team, our boys and gals are going down, On the surface, you know that entire fleet's vulnerable and that something's gonna go down. Is it internally? Is it externally? And all shit hits the fucking fans. And that was just
If I could,
incredible.
if I could also kind of touch on the like the idea of these like separate factions coming, I think there's this really cool mirror that we're seeing to where you have like these previously like warring factions in the Mandalorians, right? With the what do they call themselves? The Path, the way. Like what's that clan?
The Watch.
The Watch. Thank you, God. So many names, and my brain is just mush right now. I can barely process. But yeah, you have the Watch and essentially the other Mandalorians all kind of coming together, and then it's two factions there, and they're coming together, and then in the Empire, what was cool about that Shadow Council scene was that we were seeing kind of the opposite happen, where you have Gideon versus Thrawn kind of showing up. Basically, I think we were given a lot of new motivation for the Empire. I think that scene is really, really important, and that it does establish that the Empire was like, hey, we're actually still really, really strong, and we're just going to hide it from the rest of the galaxy until we're ready to come back out again. I thought that was incredible, and then even on top of that, though, you still also have Gideon like clearly wanting to claim that and control that for himself, and sees Thrawn as kind of a threat to that. Right. Like it's clear to me that he's a very power hungry and egotistical like character, and him being like, where is Thrawn? I don't know. My plan's working right now. Give me stuff. Like I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Money, please.
Which, like, especially given episode 5 and seeing the incompetence of the New Republic, right? And then juxtify that with like that whole Shadow Council meeting where they're controlling every minute detail down to the pirates invading Navarro, dude. And they say it themselves, like, if we do too much, right, we're gonna look organized. We got to look like unorganized war criminals, right? And
Yeah, because it's
like
something
that,
about the
give this
hyperlanes.
false- Yeah, right. And give this like false pretense to the to how we're currently operating. And so we're seeing how the New Republic's now going to fall, become the Resistance, and the First Order is going to come to dominance. And it's, oh my god, dude, it's so good, man. Oh,
There's so much to kind of like to like dissect out of the Shadow Council scene that is fascinating to me. Just because one, they name drop Project Necromancer, which is fucking unbelievable. Like Huck's already like clearly setting up for the return of the Emperor. Like fuck yes, but on top of that though, it adds new context to things that we'd previously seen, to where there's that scene in season 2 where they go into a base, they see a bunch of like pickled Snokes, right? And they're like, oh shit, like what the fuck is going on here? There's been this whole thing with cloning kind of that entire time. And then towards the end, the reveal that Gideon wants to create his own army and take quote the best from all of these different things. And he name drops specifically Mandalorians and Jedi, which kind of like,
and the clones,
and the clones, and gives us like finally I think the motivation as to why they're going after Grogu specifically, because it's like there's a force thing there involved clearly.
Need his midichlorians,
and yeah, they gotta suck the midichlorians out of them, you know. But it's also important in that Gideon's plan is not the Snoke Emperor route. Gideon wants that for himself. He's not building towards the First Order. He's building towards something different, which I thought was really, really interesting, and kind of goes against what I think most people had theorized going into this.
Yeah. I definitely, when he was like monologuing and like, the whole the villain's revealing his big plan because he's winning thing, I was trying to put together like what angle he might take. And I don't know if you guys got this, but I was wondering if he didn't even want the clones to bring back Palpatine, but if he wanted the clones to be of himself, so he could live infinitely as the leader, and maybe the midichlorians are just for like these Jedi troops that he plans on having along the way as well. But I'm starting to wonder how much he wants the cloning aspects for his own personal gain.
And I mean, of course, in that opening scene, it's revealed that he was behind like the sabotaging of Dr. Pershing though too. Right. To where he's like, go make sure that their plan's not working, so my plan does, which I thought was also really, really, really fascinating. Star Wars is so cool, you guys.
Oh my god, dude,
Star Wars is so cool. So let's kind of break down let's go across some of the finer details, some of the major points, because I really want to talk about some things. One, just initially, I'm really loving like Uncle Grief Karga, who clearly like shows up once a year to Grogu's birthday party to give him something like irresponsible that he's clearly not old enough for. He's the uncle who shows up at a 14-year-old's birthday party. He's like, "Hey, check this out! I got you your first gun. I'm going to show you how to shoot it later." And the dad's like, "No.
Yeah, it felt like a grandma. Like you're like, "Hey, can I get McDonald's, Mom?" And she's like, "No." And then Grandma strolls in and she's like, "Yeah, let's go." And you're like, "Hell yeah!"
Like, "What's up? I brought chicken nuggets."
I just bought the kid a Mustang. Let him test it out. Like, come on, right?
Yeah, it's like just around the block. What's the harm? Come on.
Like fucking get hype moment when IG-11 starts walking, and then other fucking get hype moment when fucking little Babu Frick guy is controlling him, and then when it's like when Grogu starts eyeballing that shit, it's like, oh my god, dude, fantastic. Then we call it IG-12, and it's like, I love it. I can't wait.
Like, no, get out of there. No.
Yeah, and I can't wait till the like we saw IG-11 doing some cool ass shit. I can't wait for the moment when we get Grogu just cold cocking motherfuckers, fucking dual wielding, just doing the spin like we saw in season 1 with IG-11. I can't wait for that moment, dude. You know it's coming.
It's so good, and I love that it's a way to kind of like give Grogu like a little more like mobility one around, like he's not stuck in his little pram anymore, but it gives him a little bit of agency, right? Like we see that sort of pay off later on when Axe Woves and Paz Vizsla are fighting each other. He just steps in, he's like, "Quit, stop it," or specifically, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Neither side can interrupt, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm Jedi, I'm like not fully Mandalorian yet. Like, let the baby do the big boy work, all right? Like, I love that shit."
I did love Mando being like, "You didn't learn that from me," and then they give each other the head nod. Hell yeah, dude, let's go. He's already learning. I love him.
Yeah. The one thing that was weird about it to me is it felt like it when he was in the suit, it both proved both points, like that. Oh yes, he is old enough to operate this, and he understands yes and no, and maybe his biology can't speak yet, but mentally he's smarter. Yet he was acting like a complete toddler in there at the same time. So I feel like Din kind of had it was weird, but overall I like it.
I love him like running into the market like Jar Jar and just eating shit without paying for it.
But I mean that
whoopee.
Yeah. But then that brings up like kind of answered one of our things of like earlier this season of like, is he just going to be a baby forever? So like, actually giving him some mobility and agency of his own and partially able to speak or respond.
Okay,
cool.
Felt like a half step until the Rey movie when he shows up and is sporting like a mohawk or something.
I was thinking about this when we got the announcement of the culmination movie. You know how Pokemon fans love when Pikachu finally spoke during that Pokemon movie?
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
What if we did that moment in the culmination movie where Din is lying on the ground? It's like, why won't you do this, Grogu? And Grogu's like, "It's because I always loved you." I was literally.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
I'm glad we don't do these on Discord anymore because I can't just kick Josh out.
I know, dude. I want to move him to another room. Can we not do that? Can we just end the show?
I was like, do I save this for a podcast? Do I put this out on Twitter? How do I talk about this? Because this thought is tormenting my brain, and I now need to sabotage you guys.
You could have just not said anything forever for the rest of my life.
I know.
You could have just kept that to yourself, and everyone could remain happy.
Okay. So we were talking about Moff Gideon's motivations and how he might, he's kind of out for himself. Like he's part of the Empire, but he's definitely, envisioning himself like, he's part of the Empire, but with him in control or him as like a major player. We got a little, tease maybe last week with Doc Brown, being a separatist and a Dooku defender. What if
Uh-oh.
Moff Gideon's actually cloning Count Dooku, and he's a secret separatist?
Interesting.
Think about it.
any more of this.
Season 4, he's
At
like,
least it's not a Jango Fett reference.
See, that would be better because Jango Fett's actor's still alive.
And a
Christopher Lee's
Mandalorian.
yeah, Christopher Lee's been dead for a minute.
They
All
can
right,
do
all
the Luke Skywalker thing, you know.
Brett, I'm here with you. Let's start shipping some ideas for Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni. So season 4, let's say Moff Gideon going to harvest Kyber crystal, right? To then put in all these red lightsabers in the similar shape as Count Dooku's. Mass production, this shit. We're getting the Beskar armor, dude. We're off to the race.
I can't stand any of you.
For real though. So Gideon talked about incorporating the best elements of like the cloners, the Mandalorians, and the Jedi. And we see, just over the course of the show, we've seen Gideon kind of adopt more of like the Mandalorian, like literally the armor. And he's talking about how he's going to be like that next evolution for them. Like, what does that look like with the Jedi for him? Like, is he cloning himself and he's going to infuse like the Force, into his clones? Or, obviously he's currently alive. So is he going to try to infuse it like into him?
That's
now?
that's where I'm thinking
so.
this leads. That was a theory I think we all had back in the season 1 days, right? When we learned that Gideon's after the child, they revealed that the child is Force sensitive. They had all this weird like cloning stuff wrapped up in that storyline. And I mean, it's very clear, like kind of the one character trait that we sort of have for Gideon is that this dude wants to consolidate power. He wants to be the guy in charge and be running the show and be the best.
Right.
And so, yeah, I do think, I don't know that it's necessarily like that he's making like Jedi clones. I think you take kind of those stormtrooper, like Mando super commandos, whatever they call them. You make them Force sensitive, like they give them like the Jedi's like kind of like almost ability of like precog and being able to push and pull things
Spidey
and make
sense.
them aware. Yeah.
I literally just had a thought. So, I love the Kal Katarn character and I love the Jedi Knight series. So a big part of Jedi Knight 2 specifically is like the Imperial Remnant, like take like Force, like basically kyber crystals are like mining crystals from other planets and infuse that with the Force to give like troopers and other people like Force powers. And it's like a big theme of the story is like they're not as attuned to the Force as like Jedi or Sith, not only because of like how they got the Force, but like training and everything like that. So I think they could maybe lean into that a little bit, something like that for sure.
That would be very interesting, and kind of similar to like the goal of or at least like the idea of the Inquisitors as well, right? Like somebody that can kind of like hunt down the Jedi, but they're not as powerful as Vader or Palpatine, and they purposely keep them there. But that's really, really interesting, and I like that idea a lot.
See,
I love the way your face just lit up.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't thought about the plot of that game in a very long time.
They
and so I was like,
bring Kal Katarn back. He's like number 2 or 3 of like Legends characters that everybody loves.
Kyle Katarn has been split into Cassian Andor and Kanan Jarrus, and I actually kind of prefer it that way.
Well, where we go with it is the culmination movie, 2-parter like Infinity War Endgame, right? And then Infinity, like the part 1 post-credit scene, Kyle Katarn, gets a little messenger, a little beep, beep, beep out when Mace Windu says, "Oh, fuck," at the end of the movie, right? And then in between the 2 movies, we get a Kyle Katarn movie, and then Kyle Katarn shows up to save Ahsoka and Din at the end of the part 2 of this culmination movie. Just make Kyle Katarn the Captain
Marvel of Star Wars, yeah.
Of Star Wars, yeah.
I'm trying to think like what's the haircut comp? Like he just has a different haircut because he has the same hair like in all the games. But
right.
I hate this fucking show, dude.
I love it so much.
Put him in the Rey movie. You just adapt his to 9.
Just move him down the timeline.
Absolutely.
I would like to see Kyle Katarn pop up somewhere. It would be interesting to see how they kind of adapt that though, right? Because I mean, he was originally the guy that stole the Death Star plans. Later he was part of Luke's Jedi Academy. it's hard to fit him into the current canon like as is. I think it's similar to like when people want to be like they should canonize Starkiller, and I'm like, but how?
I mean, it was the same with Thrawn, and they were able to kind of do it a little bit. So it's still...
I'm not saying it couldn't done. I guess I'm mostly just kind of like pontificating on him. Like I'm curious as to what that would look like.
Yeah.
But I digress. Just gets murked at the end of Rise of Skywalker by Ben Solo.
Right. Why is the armor a fucking rat?
Doug, thank you. I was genuinely about to bring this up because let's look at the evidence here, right?
Okay.
Doesn't the character of the armorer decides, no, I'm not going to go into the Grand Forge of the Mandalorians. Instead, I'm about to go up to the fleet that Gideon clearly knows is there.
In an Uber driver? Like, what? Get out of here.
It's very interesting. But let's look back even further. The Empire discovers, or the Imperial Remnant on Navarro discovers that there is a Mandalorian covert underneath their feet. She's the only one to survive. Paz Vizsla as well, but it's just her and Paz at the end of at the beginning of season 2. You know, very interesting.
I mean, also especially now with Gideon's like almost like Maul style like Death Watch armor. That's like also the Dark Trooper armor. Like she has the fucking horns on her helmet too, man.
She's got the horns on her. She's got the horns on her helmet. Like. And one of the first things that we hear Gideon say to the crew is, "Thank you so much for gathering all of the Mandalorians together in one place." Whose idea was it to suddenly drop all pretenses of the way and be like, you know what? Let's get everyone together. Hey, whose idea was it to go to Mandalore?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
The episode is also called The Spies, and we never get confirmation as to who his spies are.
I mean, you asked the question during the episode 5 podcast, Chris, whose Beskar Eloy was in that ship that broke him out. I said the armor. I said I ain't trusting this lady fully.
Yeah, man.
It's starting to all add up. I think both her and Gideon are playing 4D chess right now, and it's
in cahoots, baby.
Oh my god, I don't trust.
Yeah, she goes from, hey, this is the way, we don't trust nobody else, to like 2 episodes later, hey, take your helmet off.
Everyone's cool. Right. I love you, all of you guys.
Yeah, no, we're all fine. Everything's cool. Weird how that suddenly coincides with the news that Gideon's out. You know, how odd is that? How so very strange.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. I'm telling you, man, we're all going to be fucking wrong, and we're going to be like, damn it!
I mean, we didn't see the outcome of her flying up with the troops, so we know, like, once she gets out of bounds there, right, like, the rest of the fleet is going to be fighting Imperials, right? And so I could totally see us, like, for opening the next episode, her just taking off, right, and just flying to maybe meet up with Thrawn, maybe meet up with the rest of the Shadow Council. Yeah, literally.
They also very much made a point to show to the Mandalorians that had survived on the planet when they're like, well, how'd you survive? And she was like, oh, I wasn't here.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Brett, take it away.
She's like piloting these like sick and wounded, and she's just gonna fucking yeet them into the carrier. Just full speed ahead. And then just like eject out and be like, peace. And they're gonna crash. It's gonna be like a Return of the Jedi, where the A-wing crashes into the bridge. Like,
see you later, nerds.
God damn.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the episode "The Spies" opens with Elia Kane like on Coruscant being like, "Hey, I did the thing." Also, Din's alive, by the way, and he's like, "What?" Yeah, I love that, but I mean, it's spies, plural. So I think there's a very strong case for the armor.
Yeah, it did surprise me that Moff Gideon is the one who went, we need to get the Mandalorians out, because I remember earlier in the season, my theory was that, they were all going to point fingers at the new rise of Mandalore to the New Republic to be like, hey, this is your scapegoat, and that's how the Empire / New Order was going to re-rise. But it actually looks like they're choosing to take the Mandalorians head on because they see them as a genuine threat rather than an easy-to-use scapegoat.
I think because they see them as a threat, but also they're Gideon's base of operations out of Mandalore, so he can't be like, "Hey, New Republic, come handle this business." And
That's
then
true.
fly
Yeah, we
right
didn't know
there.
that all that.
Yeah.
Also, if he kills them all, he can just melt down their armor and boom, free Beskar. Not even an alloy. It's all there.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to refine it or anything.
Yeah, just paint it.
Paint it black.
You know what I mean? He's like, hey, free armor, let's go.
Paint it the white. That looks way better.
Yeah, it looks.
The
so
Super
sick.
Commandos look really fucking cool.
They
Like,
do, yeah.
They look really, really awesome. It's a sweet mix of like Stormtrooper and Mandalorian and a little like First Order Stormtroopery too.
I was,
Yeah.
I was getting those vibes as well, 100%.
Yeah.
It makes you
Yeah,
think
it's a
that if they were
nice
able
little
to
lead up.
conquer Mandalore way better, they could have just really abused it for all its resources and had an army of Beskar covered soldiers.
Yeah, it's kind of like with.
I mean,
what
they
we've
did
already
basically
seen
blow
in-
the thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we've seen in Mando, and then like with the Bad Batch with the cloning, like they're just never going to be as good as the people who have the expertise with it. So, but
The
they would've worked with
Kaminoans, cloners.
Which is
I
why
know.
the armorer is working with Gideon. She knows how to work with it.
them.
Speaking of dope-looking armor and Mandalorian armor, shout out to the crew of just Mad Max Mandalorians we meet on the planet who are
Yeah.
surviving out
Yeah.
My boy Skinny Pete.
here.
The dude
That
from
was
Top
him,
Gun
right?
Yeah,
Maverick,
it was him, yeah.
The dude
Yeah.
from Top Gun Maverick, whatever his name was.
Yeah, the guy from Maverick too.
Literally.
yeah.
The other
And,
admiral.
Yeah, no, I thought
And
I recognized Skinny Pete.
Right, and so like similar to episode 5 again too. Also got to touch nothing fucking cooler than airdropping some Mandalorians. All right, fucking so dope. We got that again. And if our Mandalorian battle royale idea from that episode wasn't already good enough, just give me a Mandalorian survival game of just these Mad Max Fury, just guys just traveling the wasteland of Mandalore, looking for resources, trying to stay clear of kaiju and other threats to the planet. Oh my god, what a
Perfection,
cool
dude.
planet.
It's
I love the
It's free money, bro. Like if we've got a million ideas here. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Let's
Mandalorian Battle Royale, make it happen. Let us cook,
See,
bro.
The Battle Royale works. Josh, you said the survival game. Me, I'm thinking more like an Outer Worlds type of game where you got to choose between what factions to side with and become strong, but maybe mix in that Mass Effect 3 aspect of like, hey, if you align enough of them, you get a big enough army, you can win it all.
but at the end of the day, it'll come down to red, green, or blue.
It's money. It's money on the table.
Or-
you know.
or you just bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. Let the whole army loose.
I didn't play Outer Worlds, so I don't understand the reference. Moving on, because I want to talk about again. Love me some sequels. We got motherfucking Praetorians again, and we got to see them kick ass again.
It looked a little bit different too. Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
30
this-
years prior.
This definitely
No.
looked like this was definitely the Mark 1 armor versus like I don't know Mark
Yeah.
6 or however many iterations we're at by the
If
time
what we
the Last
saw in
Jedi.
The Last Jedi is like the Blu-ray, this is the VHS.
Literally. And so yeah, I loved Din getting captured and then Paz Vizsla throwing down the ultimate sacrifice. You see his gun overheating, the entire thing is red. You're like, this dude is going down. Subvert expectations.
He was a
Kills him.
Giga Chad to the very end.
Literally
Like-
fights them all off, and then they're like, motherfucker, Ludwig, hit us with the fucking choir and the sinister choir music, and then the Praetorian guards come out and just stab him.
like through,
Yeah.
like right in front of the camera. Although I wonder
Oh,
why
God.
he didn't back out with him. Like he was taking a lot of shots. Why didn't he just back out? Or why didn't the whole army help him fight? I mean, I know there's like a ton of Imperials, but yeah, it was
Like-
sick either way. What a way to go out.
I-
I'm
Oh,
gonna,
for sure.
Ragnar though, no dad.
All
But-
right.
I'm just like, I've played Battlefront 2. Like, I know those guns overheat. I'm like, come on, what is this thing like? That doesn't have that much time in the game. Like, come on.
He's hitting that gold cooldown.
Yeah, he's gotta wait, bro. He's gotta wait. Yeah, he
So
kept
must
hitting
have,
right
like,
trigger at
royally
just the
messed-
right time. Yeah.
He must have royally messed it up then for his whole gun to overheat like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Well,
me,
that's one of the
like,
star.
when they-
That's one of the star cards. It's a limited time option anyway. You know what I mean? The wheel was done.
Yeah, to me, like
yeah.
they call out that they're wearing Beskar, and then like when you're looking at a lot of the fight choreography, like they're trying to get them in between like the little
In between the
like
plates,
cracks,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
like
A lot of neck
between the
shots, which
plates.
was really, really cool to watch.
Right, versus like Paz Vizsla's weapons, the only one who that can just like cold cock these motherfuckers. So it's like it makes sense in terms of like, okay, well, I can actually deal with these guys at a range. You guys
Mhm.
need to get up close. You guys fucking dip. This is the way, right? And just that final look he gives to Bo-Katan. Oh my god, dude.
Very
So
similar
good.
to John Wick 4. You know, like gotta get in
That-
between the armor.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It was no spoilers, just like
Oh, that's been in all of them. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I heard John Wick 1. I went, nope, sorry.
no, I literally was just saying
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, yeah.
John Wick gets a haircut. No,
similar to Batman Arkham Knight. You got to shoot him between the ballistic armor. All right.
Yep.
There we
Yeah,
go.
you
Right.
gotta,
Like,
you gotta get in the crack. Shout out though to one, like vibro weapons will never not look cool to me. I love that. I love every time they come on screen. Same with like the Clone Wars era, like arm shield. Like it's so cool just seeing
That
things
one's
that we've
always
seen in
fucking hype.
animation come to live action. But also like the action choreography across this episode was really spectacular. The fight in particular when they're in the forge and Bo-Katan's blaster gets knocked out of her hand and she has to take on like 3 or 4 motherfuckers at once and pulls it off. I just sat there. I was like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, this is some good ass Star Wars right here.
no mini hyperspace technology for the Praetorian Guards, though. You know.
yeah. Yeah, nothing that time around. I feel like she too has also grown reluctant to use the Darksaber because again she's not using the Darksaber when they're first getting flanked, and she has that whole monologue to Din, which I love Din in this episode, between him like nodding to Grogu when he does that and him being like, I didn't teach him that, but also Din being like, it isn't about wearing the helmet, it's about loyalty. It's not about this weapon, it's not about any of this shit, right? It's about loyalty, and I will stay with you until your song
That
is
made me
finished.
feel better about him giving it up. That made me feel a little bit better about it because I was still like, and last week I was like, what? Like, what the heck? I think with the whole like,
Well, he
why
also
she's
spent like a
not-
whole season like Jon Snow and being like, I don't want it. Like, like I don't want to be the ruler of Mandalore, bro.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of Game of Thrones, but I just think from like decades of like Star Wars storytelling in books, shows, games, stuff like that. Like when you see non-Force users use like lightsabers, the deflecting, that's more of like a Force user thing, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that's just harder to do versus just slicing people.
Right.
Well, you even
Yeah,
saw it
and
when she
I
was
mean,
trying to
like, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
when she was trying to like make the hole to escape. Like she wasn't using the actual blade part; she was using the backside of it to cut through. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's all hot.
Not as clean as Qui-Gon's.
Yeah.
No, yeah, nothing ever is. Qui-Gon was on point. I love that. Now, I mean, okay. The last thing that I want to kind of touch on is looking towards the finale of this. Right, we know Thrawn's coming. We know he's going to be there in Ahsoka. How do we think that Thrawn's arrival is going to essentially like interact with the groundwork that Gideon's trying to lay down? Like, how do we see this final episode wrapping up, and how does that affect Ahsoka and season 4 and the movie and stuff going forward?
I mean, after episode 6 with Lizzo and Jack Black out of nowhere, theorizing at this point is almost like I feel useless. We've been
comes in and
Let's go.
He has his own Mandalorian armor.
was
Was it? You're
literally
gonna tell me that was
thinking
all
back to
for all for one music video?
yeah, that was for a meme. Yeah. I think though, with like us theorizing about this since like the Star Wars Awards, which the fantastic episode you should still go back to if you haven't watched already.
The Star Wars.
I think we won't get any Rebels characters until Ahsoka now. I think with Sabine not showing up during a lot of this, with we name drop Thrawn.
Are you
in
including
season 2.
Thrawn? Are you
I
including
think
Thrawn in that?
Including Thrawn,
Okay.
yeah. I think we name dropped him in season 2. We name dropped him here again. I think if anything, we approach the ship, but we don't see the ship. But I think they are saving that for Ahsoka, so you like So you think about Ahsoka more positively. So you have those like holy fucking shit moments, like
Yeah.
they are like we are seeing them on screen for the first time in Ahsoka. So I don't think, I don't like. I think obviously they're gonna go rescue Din, right, and maybe foil Gideon's plan for the time being, and he's gonna have to regroup and go back and maybe meet up the armor. But I think like I don't think we see him meet up again until maybe Gideon is in Ahsoka, depending upon the timelines, right? Maybe we
And I
see
think
more
that's
of the
fair.
Shadow Council
I
there,
I,
like-
I think name dropping him, and I assume we'll probably at least hear about him next week as well, right? I
Right.
think he gets
Mhm.
another name drop. Whether he shows up or not is 50-50, I'd say.
I
Hey,
think we get a teaser of him because either in the end of the episode or like a Book of Boba Fett like stinger. Because I think season 1 of Ahsoka, he won't be around the whole time. Because I wonder if they're gonna be like looking for like if they find Ezra like immediately, that's gonna be not as fulfilling. I think that's like a season 1 finale for that show, and him and Thrawn are tied together. So I don't think we'll see like so they got to kind of show him a little bit just to like because you won't see him a lot in season 1. I don't think.
if
Yeah.
anything, we get the resident. I'm calling you on the phone, and like we're seeing the hologram thing, similar to
Yeah.
the Emperor
Yeah.
at the end of Kenobi, right? Like we're
Yeah.
just gonna do this one quick hologram cameo, if we do see him at all next week.
Awesome. Well,
I
I
think
have.
this.
Oh, please go
Oh.
ahead.
I would say I think the kind of the teaser for season 4. I think we get the reveal that the armor is working with Gideon, and that's kind of like
Ooh.
the stinger to leave us hanging for season 4.
Ooh, so the audience finds out, but the characters don't.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
As someone who doesn't know much about Thrawn, so I can't, take a lot of guesses. I think next episode, Gideon, I'm not going to use the word wins in the sense that he defeats our protagonists in Din, Grogu, and Bo-Katan, but that he makes enough of a big step for what he wants that he feels like he can finally maybe reveal himself to the council and be like, fuck y'all, I'm doing my own thing. You all work for me now, maybe prematurely. And I think that gets Thrawn being like, no, I'm coming back for you. Like, I think we're now going to see
It's like I'm the heir to the Empire.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I would, from what I know, I would say his loyalties lie more with the Empire rather than wanting to break off and do his own thing. So I think that's how we tie it into Ahsoka.
Yes and no. If
Thrawn's
you
kind of
read the
like-
books, yes and no.
Yeah.
He's kind of like playing all sides, kind of playing.
So he
his own
always comes
side.
out on top.
So yeah,
Tactician.
I can't see him at least getting, being like, oh, you took resources from me, so now I have a personal vendetta against you. Also, I think the armor takes off her helmet and it's Tina Fey or something. I don't know.
Hell
anymore,
yeah, let's
guys.
go.
I wonder if it's gonna be like not just like a person, like if that like her, if we see her, like if it's gonna mean something because
If it's like somebody
That's like-
significant.
that could be just another hook of like why like that way is like harmful is because like you can be anybody under that helmet,
Yeah.
So,
Maybe the armor isn't real. Maybe it's been Thrawn with a voice changer this entire time. Who knows?
Hell yeah, let's go.
But like it's complicated because we've seen some of that dynamic with Krennic and Tarkin in Rogue One already, and it's like, do we need more like high end Imperials like having a pissing contest essentially
Yes.
again? Like I mean,
Next question.
on this scale, like it works a lot better, right? But like I don't know, I'd almost want Gideon to be more of like a right hand man to Thrawn until maybe he's like tries to sabotage him in the big culmination movie or something, right? But like I don't know if we can do this dynamic again.
I think what makes it interesting and better and different versus that is like Krennic was more of like a sycophant, right? So he was just like groveling for approval, whereas Gideon is not, and Thrawn's definitely not either. And like they said in the episode, like they got to keep it on the low, like the DL. So they got to be very careful on how they operate, even within where they're at right now. So, and then as we see that progression to the First Order. So,
Well, before we wrap up, I have one final question for the panel. Does episode 8 continue the tradition of Din taking off his helmet only in the finale episode?
Oh yeah, dude, Gideon's
of
like
course.
Yeah.
ripping that thing off and slapping him around. Yeah.
I think we didn't hire Pedro Pascal to step in a VO booth.
It's got to be in his
every
contract or
season,
something,
right?
bro.
Like,
Like you got to do it at
Yeah,
least once per season.
Yeah.
and they're like, come back from Canada and film in The Last of Us and give us just one scene in the armor, dude.
Like, yeah, it'll take 20 minutes in and out, just like.
In which I'd be interested to see, because like I honestly thought they were gonna do it when they were capturing him, right? Like have this moment of
Like
like
right then and there,
Gideon-
reveal him to his people. That would have been really interesting.
like Gideon takes off his helmet and he's like unmask him, like let me look at Din Djarin like face to face. And so I think they might do that this episode, or next episode. And I'd be interested to see if while his helmet's off, if Grogu sees him once again and how that changes their relationship.
Here's what's gonna happen. So he's gonna rip his helmet off, and Din's like, "Bro, the Living Waters is like 5 miles down the road. Like I don't care.
I just take a stroll.
And then Gideon's like, I peed in the pool. Ha! And he's like, no, and he sees like the blue liquid in the living waters. He's like, God, I don't know. He's like,
And they also get a call from the fleet up, and they're like, yeah, the armor just hyperspaced her ship through the fucking fleet. She is gone. This means nothing anymore, dude. She does a holdo remover, right? She fucking does that shit again.
middle fingers.
And Din is literally watching this footage like before he takes his first step into the waters, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have to do this anymore." You know, like this is dumb, right? I can just be Pedro Pascal.
And that concludes this week's episode of This Is the Waypoint. If you enjoyed this unbelievable episode of both The Mandalorian and this dumbass podcast, please like and subscribe down below. How did you feel about this absolute banger of an episode? God, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the next waypoint.